Hello, friends. My name is Christina Grozik, and I'm with a documentary called Going Om, which is an exploration into the world of sound, vibration, frequency, silence, energy, and how all of these things are connected. And these topics are so important that we have decided to continue the discussions on them, talking with different people about how they use them and why that matters. So if you're interested in the film, you can always go to the website goingomfilm.com. Again, goingomfilm.com. And today I'm so excited. We've got very special guests here with us. We've got Peter and Jana Hesse. Hello and welcome, you guys. It's so good to see you.
Hello, Christina.
Hi.
Hello.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time out of your very busy schedules. I know we're all in different countries right now, so I appreciate you taking the time to connect. So I want to jump in. I've got so many questions and I want to jump into things with you guys. But before we do that, I want to give a little bit of background about Peter and his work, if that's okay. So Peter has been, I was like, oh, I've been doing singing bowls for a little bit over 15 years, right? Peter's been doing them for over 30 years and was one of the pioneers in these modalities we're going to talk about today. So, his work began in 1984 with metal singing bowls after he was inspired by his experiences in Tibet and Nepal. He's a researcher on the effects of sound on people. He is a German engineering graduate in physical technology, and there are over 20 Peter Hesse sound massage academies with thousands of people being trained in this method. And I would like to share a quote from Peter. It's on our mutual friend Wyatt Melius's website, Rooted in Sound. And when I saw this, I was like, oh, I love it so much. The sound of the singing bowl touches our innermost soul and brings it into vibration. The sound breaks tension, mobilizes self-healing forces, and sets free creative energies. And I think when I read that, I'm like, that's perfect, everything, it's right in alignment, right? So I know for me, my journey with the singing bowl, and for anyone out there that's like, well, I don't even know, what is a singing bowl? You may not know the name, but maybe you've seen them. So it looks something like this. That's a singing bowl for those of you that are like, new to all of this, right? And we're going to talk a lot about that today. But in my own personal life, the sound of the singing bowl is what brought me to find stillness and silence. And I think that was one of the reasons and the very first step on this path to the documentary that we did. So, Peter, your path, right? You've been doing this again for over 30 years. You're a pioneer in this. You're the one that kind of put together this modality of a sound massage. So when you first started doing this, and just so you guys know, Jana's going to help here because no sprechen Sie Deutsch. I do not speak German, unfortunately. I love it, such a beautiful language, but Jana's going to help us connect the communication dots here. But you've been doing this for over 30 years, pioneer in this field. And what was it like to get people to open up to this? Was it an easy process, or was it one of those things that people were like, ooh, I don't know about that?
Peter, du hast das jetzt seit 30 Jahren gemacht und hast du das Gefühl, war es einfach, Menschen für Klang zu begeistern oder waren sie eher so, ich weiß nicht, was das so ist und lieber nicht oder?
Ja, das ist immer sehr unterschiedlich. Also nicht jeder ist sofort für Sound empfänglich, besonders die Männer. Die Männer, die sagen, da muss man dran glauben.
That differs, and some people are easily love the sound and love to know something about that, but some are very hesitant, especially men. They're more hesitant than women.
Wir besetzen die Klangmassage auch bei Tieren ein und die Tiere haben keinen Glauben, sie sind weder katholisch noch buddhistisch noch irgendetwas. Also der Klang hat mit Glauben nichts zu tun.
And men often think you have to believe in it for it to work. We often work with animals and sound, and animals probably don't think about believing in something. They just feel, and it totally works. So you don't have to believe in it to work for it to work.
Und wenn man eine Klangmassage bekommen hat, weiß man sofort, was alles passieren kann und wie wohl man sich dabei fühlen kann.
So once you have tried out a sound massage, you already know how it can work and how it can really bring your body back to relaxation without knowing all the facts.
Jetzt in der Corona-Situation habe ich viele Online-Seminare gegeben und da wir Paare brauchen, hat die Ehefrau immer ihren Mann oder ihren Partner eingeladen. Und der Partner hat gesagt, dir zuliebe mache ich das mal mit. Und viele von denen haben die Ausbildung fertig gemacht. Sie haben sofort erfahren, wie wertvoll das ist. Man braucht das nicht zu erklären oder so, sondern man muss es spüren.
This past year, he had to give online classes for the first time in his life. And often the women who wanted to take part asked their husbands to or partners to join. And they didn't want to do it at first. They did it for their partner. And afterwards, they were all convinced, or most of them were convinced that that was for them as well, and went on in the training.
Wenn wir zum Beispiel Ärzten klar machen wollen, wie wirkungsvoll die Klangmassage ist, dann erklären wir nicht, sondern wir bieten ihnen eine Klangmassage an. Und da weiß er sofort, welche Möglichkeiten in der Klangmassage stecken.
When, for example, doctors ask how sound works on the body, we give them sound massages so they can feel, and it kind of eliminates a lot of questions.
Yeah, there's no better teacher than the experience itself, right? Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you.
Besseren Lehrer als die Erfahrung selbst.
Ja.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. And then for people that may not know what a sound massage is, when we use that word, a sound massage, can you explain what that is for someone that's never heard of it?
Kannst du erklären, was eine Klangmassage ist für jemanden, der noch nie von Klangmassage gehört hat?
Ja, also erklären ist immer ein bisschen schwierig. Das Fühlen ist immer das Beste. Das Beste ist, man kann eine kurze Probeklangmassage machen. Zum Beispiel jemand eine Klangschale auf den Handteller stellen und sie mal anschlägeln. Und dann kann er sofort spüren, wie die Klänge durch den Körper laufen oder wo sie nicht laufen. Und man hat es verstanden. Es ist einmal der Klang, den wir eigentlich vom Ursprung her kennen. Ursprung unserer Menschheit, aus dem Mutterleib oder schon früher. Also der uns sehr vertraut ist, bei dem wir uns wohl und sicher fühlen. Das ist der Klang. Und das Zentrale, wohl und sicher fühlen. Und das nächste sind die Schwingungen, die in den Körper gehen und dort sanft massieren. Jana war ein bisschen lange.
So if you have the chance to give that person a singing bowl into their hands, they can feel it, and sound automatically connects to your inner being and to your basic trust. And from that, everything can develop. Aber ich glaube, Christina wollte wissen, was findet statt in der Klangmassage?
Was nochmal?
Wie läuft eine Klangmassage ab?
Ja, also im Normalen machen wir eine Klangmassage mit 3 Klangschalen.
Normally we do a sound massage with 3 singing bowls.
Das ist eine Beckenschale.
It's a pelvic bowl.
Und das ist eine Universalschale.
It's a universal or joint bowl.
Und das ist eine Herzschale, die etwas so aussieht.
And a heart bowl. That's not the heart bowl, but it looks something like that.
Und wir bieten den Menschen Klänge an für die verschiedenen Körperbereiche. Also Beckenschale, Klänge, die ganz unten schwingen im Beckenbereich. Und je nach Schlägel können wir das Klangangebot variieren. Mit einem großen Schlägel tiefe Klänge, mit einem kleineren Schlägel höhere Klänge, sodass man mit einer Klangschale einen großen Bereich des Körpers abdecken kann.
Depending on the body region, we offer the sounds that are for those body regions, lower sounds for the lower body and higher sounds for the upper body. And depending on the melody, the softer, the lower the sounds, the harder, the higher the sounds. You can even, with the pelvic bowl, reach from your root chakra up to the solar plexus with the sound spectrum.
Und für die oberen Bereiche, also für den Herzbereich, ist nicht so das Herz, sondern ist der Bereich des Herzens, haben wir die Herzschale.
And for the heart area, we have the heart bowl, which is not only for the front heart area, but for the area surrounding the heart front and back.
Und für Gelenke und für andere Bereiche die Universalschale, die Gelenke sehr unterstützt in den Schwingungen.
And the universal or joint bowl for the joints or the hands or the feet or other areas that need moving sound.
Okay. So
Soll ich jetzt mal die Gesangsmassage einfach erklären, wie sie abläuft?
Would you like to know how we do, I mean, like on what places we place the singing bowls, or is that of interest for you?
I mean, anything that you guys are up for sharing, we would love to hear.
Gerne, wenn du es teilen möchtest, dann gerne.
Ja, wir fangen an den Beinen, an den Füßen an. Und dort haben wir die Fußreflexion. So wird der gesamte Körper einmal angestimmt mit dem Klang.
We
Mit der
start
Universalschale.
at the feet. You have the reflex zones on the soles of your feet, and the body is getting tuned into with the sound.
Und dann fließen die Klänge in die Füße hinein, gehen durch den Körper durch, und wenn alles gut ist, kommen sie oben aus den Haarspitzen raus.
The sounds go into the soles of the feet and flow through the body, and if everything is good, they come right back out through the tips of your hair.
Klang bringt Gelassenheit und Sicherheit. Und wenn jemand eine Blockade spürt, dann ist er nicht schmerzvoll in der Blockade, sondern er schaut sozusagen von oben interessiert drauf und sagt, ist ja interessant, da ist eine Blockade.
The thought behind using sound is that you feel secure, you feel safe, and you have the chance to step out of the problem and look at yourself from above and go like, oh, that's interesting, and not be in the problem, whatever it is.
Die Person spürt, wie von Klangwelle zu Klangwelle, die in die Füße reingeht, der Körper freier und freier wird und sich Blockaden schon ein Stück lösen können.
So there's a chance for the sound to go wave by wave into the body and slowly knocking on whatever blockages there might be, and maybe opening some, maybe not. And so the body can slowly feel what sounds and vibrations can be like and feel safer and safer.
Und wir fangen am Rücken des Körpers an, und deswegen, damit die Menschen nicht beobachten. Denn beobachten verhindern Erfahrung.
We start face down because usually when you lay face up, you try to follow things, and that is difficult for experience. That's why people lay face down, and yeah.
Da uns die Klänge vertraut sind und Sicherheit geben, können wir uns leicht fallen lassen.
After being introduced to the sound, we can feel safe and let go.
Und wir gehen dann weiter, entsprechend mit dem Klangangebot zur Mitte des Rückens und dann zum unteren Lendenwirbelbereich.
We then move on to the middle of the back, solar plexus area, and then go further down to the bottom, to the end of the spine.
Und dann geht die große Klangschale zum Schalsband, und es kommt eine zweite Schale dazu, die Herzschale. Und jetzt klingen alle Schalen zusammen.
And then we have two bowls on the body that tune together.
Und was passiert im Körper? Man kann sich das vorstellen, man steht an einem See und lässt einen Stein hineinfallen, und da kommen diese konzentrischen Wellen, die durch den gesamten See hindurchgehen. Und genauso ist es bei der Klangmassage.
So
der Körper besteht aus 70 bis 80% aus Wasser.
So what happens in the body, if you imagine throwing a stone into the pond and it making concentric waves, since our body is made of 70–80% of fluids, that's exactly what happens in our body.
Die Wellenbewegung, wenn ich einen Stein ins Wasser fallen lassen kann, die kann man noch irgendwie kontrollieren. Aber irgendwann hat man auch da keine Lust mehr dazu.
So already when you throw one stone into the pond, when you throw one stone into the pond, you can still kind of see, okay, that's where the waves go. It's not really fun watching and controlling those waves, but you can still kind of watch where they're going.
Wenn ich aber in einem See einen Stein reinfallen lasse und dann einen zweiten, dann kommen die Wellen und gehen ineinander über. Man kann das nicht mehr kontrollieren, man muss Kontrolle aufgeben. Und das ist wieder da, Kontrolle aufzugeben.
If I drop one stone into the pond and then another, and the waves start to flow into each other, there's no way to control that anymore. You can't really follow where they're going. And that's when your body latest starts to let go of control. And that's when a renewal can happen.
Weg von Kontrolle. Ohne Kontrolle kann Heilung geschehen, kann Neuordnung geschehen. Und das ist zentral wichtig, dass unser Kopf nicht dabei ist. Denn Kopf macht uns krank. Und es ist wichtig, dass im Heilungsprozess der Kopf ausgeschaltet wird.
When you stop controlling the healing and the renewal can begin, because controlling and your head and your thoughts, and it can put a blockage into renewal and healing.
Wie bei einer normalen Massage bedienen wir auch den gesamten Körper, also Nacken, Schultern, Arme, Hände und so weiter bei dieser Massage.
Just like in a manual massage, we also treat the neck and the shoulders and the hands.
Und wenn der Rücken behandelt wird, bekommt der vordere Bereich des Körpers schon eine Menge ab.
And already when we're on the back of the body, the front automatically receives sound already, even though the bowls are on the back.
Und dann wird der vordere Bereich noch behandelt, also Unterleib, Herzbereich und so weiter.
But during a full sound massage, the person turns around and then pelvic bowl on the belly and then heart bowl on the heart, and all that is happening too if you do the full sound massage.
Und bei dieser Massage passiert schon ganz viel. Die Person, die sie bekommt, spürt schon ganz viel. Und das ist bei jedem Menschen anders, denn jeder Mensch ist einmalig.
So there can be a lot of, so somebody can feel a lot already during just this basic sound massage, and it's totally different for every person.
Und so lernt der Klangmassagepraktiker den Klienten mehr und mehr in seiner Individualität kennen und gestaltet mehr und mehr das spezielle Angebot für den Klienten, was er braucht. Jeder Mensch braucht etwas anderes.
Through these basic sound massages, what we call it, the practitioner gets to know the client better and better and can individualize the sound massages to their needs.
Ja, und wir haben etwa 150 verschiedene Klangelemente, die wir dann bewusst gezielt einsetzen, um den Klienten in seinem, was er braucht, zu unterstützen.
We have around 150 sound elements that we can add on or alternate for an individual sound massage.
All right. Well, thank you for that. That's such an interesting journey. And that was like the way it was explained, that was so beautiful. So when we're saying sound massage, the way you've illustrated it, it's exactly that. I mean, it's energy moving through the system and promoting a healthy flow throughout the body. And I love how you just took the journey from the feet, you move it up, and the description of the water and the pebble and the waves moving together, and then using the two bowls so you're not focusing on it and you're letting it just happen and just be. So, you know, you said that there's other elements, other sound elements that can be added on. And am I correct in saying that the word Klang is sound in German? Is that correct?
Klang, yes.
Yes. Yes. Okay. But you said there's other Klang elements that could be added on. What would it be with the singing bowl, or are they different tools that you would use?
Die Klangelemente, sind die mit Klangschalen oder mit anderen Instrumenten?
Nein, alle mit Klangschalen. Also wir achten darauf, dass wir nur einen Bereich an Angeboten haben, also verschiedene Klangschalen oder was zum System der Klangschalen gehört. Dazu gehören zum Beispiel auch Zimbeln und Gongs, aber keine anderen Instrumente, zum Beispiel Trommeln oder andere Dinge dazu. Also alleine aus dieser Familie der Klangschalen, der erweiterten Familie.
So it's from the family of singing bowls. It's mainly singing bowls, but also cymbals and gongs. So these three instruments, in sound baths, we also use other instruments, but that's a different thing. In the sound massage, we use only these three.
Okay, all right, that's fantastic. Yeah, I love this so much. So, you know, that's how I started. I started with the singing bowls, and that was the first tool that I found, and it was so magical for me. And then I saw how it was impacting the clients that I had. And, you know, I've done a lot of training, but I'll tell you, the next time maybe I'm in Germany or you're in the States, I would love to do the certification through you guys. But that's another topic for another time, for sure. So, yeah, but how exciting what you're doing, for sure. So let's talk. I know Peter you have your own line of singing bowls, and they're made specifically for the sound massage. So why is there a difference with bowls specifically for the sound massage versus, you know, something that is really ornate, you know, like that?
Wir haben unsere eigenen Klangschalen. Warum ist es dir wichtig, anstelle von so individuellen Klangschalen oder ornamentierte Klangschalen?
Ja, also die Klangschalen haben sich ja mit unserem System der Klangmassage entwickelt, und aus den millionenfach gemachten Erfahrungen. Und es ist uns ganz wichtig, dass die Klangmassage, die Klangschalen eine ganz besondere Qualität hat. Also Klangschale ist nicht Klangschale, ja, okay.
So the singing bowls we're using today are made from the experiences, the millions and millions of experiences that all the people have made, and we have collected them and put these thoughts into manufacturing the bowls that we need right now. We have started with old singing bowls and have experience with it and found what worked and what didn't. And but there was a time when there weren't very many good quality old bowls anymore. So we had to think of something. Yes.
Also der Ursprung der Klangschalen, ich habe hier so, es sind alte Schalen, die als Essgeschirr benutzt worden sind, die aus einer hochwertigen Bronze bestehen, und manche von denen klingen ganz gut. Das war der Ursprung.
That's how it started, with old singing bowls that were ages ago used as container for food, and some of them sound really nice.
Und Ende der 60er Jahren haben die Hippies diese Schalen als Klanginstrument entdeckt, und seitdem wird mit diesen Schalen als Klangschalen gehandelt. Und es ist ein beliebtes Handelsprojekt geworden.
In the 1960s, the hippies in India started playing with it and found that they made nice sounds, and that's when it made the development from just a container for food into something that is an instrument, and then it started becoming a sound instrument.
Der Renner auf dem Touristenmarkt sind jetzt diese Klangschalen. Möglichst noch eine Gravur drin mit einem Butterkopf oder sowas, aber klingt nicht, kann man nicht benutzen. Und so werden die Klangschalen in der Hauptsache für Touristen gemacht und so weiter, also um zu verkaufen, aber nicht für Therapiearbeit.
This is the kind of bowl that you can usually find on markets for tourists. They look nice, but they usually don't sound very long or good, and they're nice and they're pretty, but you can't do much on the body with them.
Und wir brauchen für unsere Körperarbeit, Klangmassage, die besten Klangschalen, die für diese Arbeit geeignet sind. Die muss man entwickeln.
And for the method that he developed, he needed the best singing bowls, and that's why we had to have them developed.
Das sind ursprünglich die Erfahrungen mit diesem Essgeschirr, den alten Klangschalen. Und das hat die Ideen gegeben für die neuen Klangschalen, und die wir natürlich eingesetzt haben in unseren Seminaren und in der Praxis. Und dort haben wir immer wieder gemerkt, was verändert werden muss. Das haben wir dann getan, die Reflexion.
Over the years, we have found out what worked, what didn't, what we had to change, from using the ancient ones to producing some at first and then in the next run. And then we changed it to with trial and error, and with lots of experiences that we made, we have developed them the way they are right now.
Okay.
Okay, or some more? It's okay?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Yeah, so I know with the bowls, your bowls are known for a very high quality, right? They have very high quality to them, and I understand that each of them is brought back to Germany and they're each inspected. And that I've also read about how your workers are treated very fairly. And you really, that's a focus for you. And I appreciate that, because I'm the person that if I go into a deli and I see someone preparing my food and they look upset or angry, I will cancel my order, because that's energy going into the food. And I feel the same, especially with tools that you're going to place on a body. You want someone that's going to be happy and feel like they're treated fairly. So yeah, thank you for what you guys are doing. I understand that some of the metals that you use in the bowls, they're attributed to homeopathic attributes. So, for example, I think like gold is the sun from what I read, and silver is the moon, and pyrite was good for the lungs. How are the homeopathic metals infused into this? How does that work? Can you speak on that?
Die Anteile, die in homöopathischen Mengen in der Klangschale drin sind, die sind weswegen da drin, und sie hat verstanden, dass sie aus homöopathischen Gründen da drin sind. Vielleicht erklärst du dann noch ein bisschen was drüber.
Ja, also das Hauptmetall ist Bronze aus Kupfer und Zinn, so wie unsere Kirchenglocken. Wir haben das ähnlich so zusammengestellt, ja. Das ist
the main metal is a bronze, which is copper and tin. What the bells in our countries are made from.
Also diese beiden Metalle in der Zusammenstellung sind in der Hauptsache, neben natürlich des handwerklichen Könnens, verantwortlich für die Qualität des Klanges.
So this is the main reason for the sound. The high quality material and that it's copper and tin.
Okay.
In den ursprünglichen Klangschalen, also dieser Klangschale, die ich hier gezeigt habe als Essgeschirr, und die klingt auch gut, ne? Es sind 12 Metalle drin. Es sind 12 Metalle, die Schamanen auch benutzen, um Medikamente herzustellen. 12 Metalle, die man, wenn man Essen hier reinpackt und das isst, mit dem Essen aufnimmt und den Körper gesund halten sollen.
So in this ancient bowl, there's the 12 metals inside, and they are linked to shamanism, and they were put in there because they wanted the food that was in there to absorb these elements, these minerals, because they were having health beneficial attributions. and they wanted the people to eat the minerals.
Ah, okay.
Dieses Prinzip hatten wir auch hier in der Alchemie. Es ist uns nicht fremd.
And we had that in alchemy in ancient times. It's not new to our culture as well.
Und die anderen Metalle, also außer Kupfer und Zinn, sind in homöopathischer Potenz drin. Und was wir machen, ist so ja in Achtsamkeit und in Gedenken an den Ursprung der Schalen halten wir das Prinzip bei, diese Metalle auch da reinzugeben.
So it's for us, it's only a thought of transmitting the old knowledge and the wisdom into the new bowl. That's why we are putting a minimum, something of an old bowl into the new bowl, just to transfer this ancient knowledge and what it means. Yes.
Okay.
Also symbolisch und
symbolic.
Yeah.
Okay. So is it a literal thing? Are older bowls melted down and put into the new bowls, or is that just the idea that is happening?
No, old bowls are melted together, and then for 20, I think he said 20 Kilogramm kommt dann eine so eine Kugel alter Schale rein, ne?
Also eine Kugel, ja. Es ist also sind vielleicht 150 Gramm in 20 Kilo.
Okay. So for 20 kilograms of bronze, maybe 20 grams or 50 grams of melted old bowls gets into that. So we symbolically have that in there.
That's beautiful. I love that. I love that, bringing something old with the new, right? It's like carrying it on through the different generations and through the different times. That's beautiful. And I know with the tin's way more expensive than what would be maybe a lead filler. I understand that some manufacturers will use like a lead filler, which is way cheaper than the tin. So when you're using mostly tin, and when you're using the tin, it's a much higher quality product, if I'm understanding that correctly.
Also den Zinn zu nehmen, das macht aus der Klangschale ein wesentlich hochwertigeres Produkt als zum Beispiel ein Blei oder.
Ja, Zinn, also es ist wichtig, wir sind abgegangen von so ursprünglichen Handelsprinzipien, also billig einkaufen und möglichst großen Gewinn zu machen. Das ist nicht unser Ziel.
It was never our intention to buy cheap and sell at a high price to have a large margin. That was never our thing.
Und so gehen viele Hersteller dazu über, statt Zinn Blei zu nehmen, weil der Preis gedrückt wird. Und Zinn ist etwa 15 Mal so teuer wie Blei, 15 Mal. Also da kann man sparen, damit man Gewinne macht.
Many producers use lead because it's 15 times cheaper than tin, and you would have a much bigger margin.
Well, this is why people look to the Peter Hess bowls, because the quality, your reputation and the quality is so high, right? Yeah. So what are some of the benefits if someone's saying, okay, now I understand the process of putting the bowls on the body and what that would look like. I know the term sound massage now and what I could expect that to be. And we know a little bit about the bowls. What are some of the benefits of having a sound massage? I know you said letting go and clearing those blockages. What are some of the other things?
Was sind die Vorteile von einer Klangmassage, außer loslassen und Blockaden lösen, die wir schon genannt haben?
Ja, die Vorteile sind also der Klangmassage. Die Klangmassage lässt uns wegkommen von unseren Alltagsproblemen. Indem wir in den Problemen sind, verfestigen sich die Probleme und werden immer stärker. Man nennt sowas den Nocebo-Effekt.
So if we're only thinking about our problem, if we're treating only our problem. We are manifesting that problem and making it worse. We call that the nocebo effect instead of placebo, nocebo.
Und in einer tiefen Entspannung oder in einem Trance-Zustand, wo ich nicht mehr nachdenke, kann Heilung geschehen. Das ist das Prinzip aller traditionellen Heiler im Osten, in den Trance-Zustand zu kommen.
In deep relaxation or in that state of trance, our body can heal, and that's the basics of all old healing, shamanistic, whatever, you know, I can't find the word.
Yeah.
Behind all the old healings is healing can take place in trance. Yes.
Es ist der Kopf, es sind unsere Gedanken, die uns krank machen. Und Klangmassage macht den Kopf frei. Dann sind wir ganz bei uns.
So our head makes the sickness or the illness that we have worse. And when we can let go, can tell the head to shut off, we can start healing.
Und im Osten hat man dafür sogar eine Art Gottheit, Manjushri, wird dargestellt mit einem großen Schwert. Und was macht Manjushri? Schlägt den Kopf ab. Man sagt, dadurch wird die Dummheit geschlachtet.
There is a god in Nepali culture, Manjushri, and it has a sword, and that cuts the head off. And the thought behind it is it's killing the stupidity.
Und es geht unheimlich viele Gedanken gehen uns durch den Kopf täglich und die meisten sind Quatsch und schaden uns.
There's so much going through our heads every day, and so much of it is nonsense and only hurts us.
Und der Klang macht uns frei und leer. Und das ist das Höchste, was wir erreichen können. Im Buddhismus ist die Lehre der Diamant das Allerwichtigste. Die Lehre, denn nur in der Lehre kann Neuordnung entstehen. Und das macht die Klangmassage.
And that makes us relax and give an emptiness inside that can be refilled in. It's like the highest thing in Buddhism is to get an emptiness, to be able to refill it. I hope I understood that correctly.
Und Dr. Lohninger hat das untersucht, was die Klangmassage bewirkt mit Herzfrequenzvariabilitätsmessung, das ist schwierig zu übersetzen vielleicht, aber hat es untersucht. Und er hat erstmal gesagt, Klang und Klangmassage Highlight der Entspannung. Und eine Klangmassage ist so wertvoll wie eine Nacht Schlaf.
So we have a doctor here, his name is Dr. Lohninger, and he did heart rate variability studies. I don't know, he was measuring the heart rates before, during, and after sound massages. And he found out that receiving a sound massage is as valuable as a night's sleep.
I love that. Yeah, it's amazing. It seems like the science for the people that are kind of questionable on it, right? And that they need the science. The science is starting to catch up with what we already know because we can feel it. We can see the difference before a sound massage and before a sound bath. When people walk in, they have a different look on their face. Their energy is different. And people will ask me because, you know, I work a lot at multiple sites and I have to carry all of these things. And people say, why? Is it worth it? And, you know, I'll have them come with me for a session and watch. And afterwards, I'm like,
that's the one thing that I love about that.
Yeah.
Seeing, I mean, they wake up from the sound massage and they look like they're freshly in love.
Yes. Yes, I totally agree. Absolutely. I love that. And I love that you guys said that it's kind of clearing out things for new opportunities, for new things to come. I think that's so valuable, letting go of those things that don't serve us and quieting the mind. We spend so much time on our food and what we're eating and exercise and, even what we're going to wear that day, right? We spend a lot of time on that kind of stuff, but the mind, quieting the mind, right? It's so important. It's so powerful in what you're doing. I love it. Thank you so much for all of the work that you have done and for introducing this modality to all of us and training these thousands of people and for setting up these academies so we can help create and give people the tools to find that inner peace and that inner stillness. So yeah, thank you for that. I have another question. Oh, before I forget to ask, can I ask you this? Can anyone buy your bowls, or do they have to be a certified Peter Hess sound massage practitioner?
So if I can answer that, maybe anybody can buy those bowls, because whenever you are doing sound for yourself, you cannot do anything wrong because you feel what feels good for yourself. It is a different thing when you do sound massages on others, because I think it's necessary to learn some principles, because you might not know that other person very well. I mean, you can still purchase the bowls, but I would recommend learning some basic principles for that. But you cannot go wrong. And if you have a business near you that has Peter Hess singing bowls, that's the best way of purchasing, is trying them out. Yes. But if you can't, I mean, you can purchase them online too, but it's always so much nicer to try them out in person.
Yeah, thank you for that. And it's funny because some of my friends that are manufacturers tell me, they're like, stop telling people they need to get the bowl in their hand and experience it. They can order them online. And I agree with you. That's one way for sure. But to experience the bowl, because it's a connection, it's they need to resonate with one another, right? So yeah.
Right.
Yeah, all right. So I think with that, there's another area I want to ask about, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing this word correctly. It's radiesthesia, I believe, and I know that Peter spent some time studying that, and I wanted to ask him what those studies were like and what he discovered through that work.
Du hast Radiästhesie gemacht, bevor du zu Klang gekommen bist. Was hast du da gemacht und hast du da was mitgenommen aus der Arbeit?
Ja, also so diese Art von Radiästhesie scheint dem zu widersprechen, was ich gemacht habe, also als Physikingenieur. Es ist ihm völlig fremd. Also als Physik und als Ingenieur geht man mit handfesten materiellen Dingen um, und Radiästhesie beschäftigt sich feinstoffliche Dinge.
So as a physical engineer, I worked with Peter, das kann ich nicht übersetzen. In I don't know how to pronounce that in English. You work with fine matters, and in electronics, it's more in electrical.
Das ist in Physik, you can measure, also du kannst messen, du kannst es feststellen, und unsere Wissenschaft haben lange geglaubt, nur das, was man messen kann, existiert auf der Welt. Das ist natürlich Quatsch.
So in physics, you can measure everything. So for a long time, we have thought that only what you can measure exists, which is not true, as we know now. But so in what he did, it was something that he was trying to measure things that haven't been measured with usual instruments.
Ein Beispiel für diese feinstoffliche Energie: Wenn es zwischen zwei Menschen funkt, sie sind verliebt. Diese Energie kann man nicht messen. Da gibt es kein Messgerät. Aber die Wirkung, die ist nachvollziehbar. Die kann man überall sehen.
So one example is, if two people are in love, there is energy there for sure, but you can't measure it, but it's still there.
Und so gibt es viele Dinge, die uns beeinflussen, obwohl es kein Messgerät dafür gibt. Aber der Mensch ist das Messgerät. Der Mensch kann fühlen, was Sache ist. Und das war im Mittelalter und Vormittelalter alles so. In unserer modernen Zeit ist das Quatsch. geworden.
So there's a lot of things that you can measure, that you cannot measure. This is a difficult subject. I can't really translate all that. Can we?
But you can feel it. You can't measure, but you feel it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you see the result. You become ill or anything.
Yeah.
Und ich habe mich sehr damit beschäftigt, an diesen alten Systemen zu lernen. Ich habe viele Untersuchungen gemacht in Europa, in Frankreich, England und so weiter und habe dort viele Erfahrungen gesammelt.
And he's done a lot of those measurements in France, England, and he's collected a lot of experiences there.
Ja, ich habe dann mit Ärzten zusammengearbeitet, um zum Beispiel Schlafplätze auszumessen. Denn es gibt Menschen, die suchen immer sich den schlechtesten Platz aus. Warum, weiß ich nicht. Und, ja, doch, kann man nachvollziehen. Und andere suchen sich immer einen guten Platz aus. Das ist ein Prinzip, kann das sein.
He's worked with doctors and he went to people's places to measure whether their bed was in a good place for them to sleep, and he measured that either they were or they weren't. Some were choosing a good place to sleep and some weren't.
Ja. Und diese Erfahrung haben mich nach Nepal gebracht. Ich hatte der Professor Dr. Nils Kutschow, hat sich für meine Arbeit interessiert, sagt, Peter, geh nach Nepal. Und in Nepal ist dieses Prinzip der feinstofflichen Energien noch voll da.
So I don't know if you know about, it's measuring with pendulums and with this thing that shows whether there's water or not in the ground. I don't know if you've heard about that.
Would they, are they two rods that you hold?
Yes.
Like dowsing?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Dowsers, yes. And that's what brought him to Nepal, because there are powerful places in Nepal that he wanted to measure the powers of. And that's where things started with the sound.
I love that. I love that. And I very much subscribe to that. I just had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and we were talking about the things around us that we don't necessarily see. We can't smell them, but they're there. They're there. And I told her a few weeks back I was having just some anxiety. And, you know, I went to a doctor. My doctor's like, everything's fine. I don't know. But I really felt the area that I was staying in was creating this. I could feel this uneasiness around me. And I'm usually a very calm person. So I left for a few days, and right away I felt so much better. So there's, just because we can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist, you know? So I love that that's been the journey and that you have experience in that, because their energy doesn't lie, you know? Right. Energy is everywhere, and you can feel the energy before someone says a word. Yeah, so let me ask you this. I know some of the principles that I understand that are part of the Peter Hess Sound Massage protocol are things like thoughtfulness, respect, a holistic approach, and then a less is more philosophy. So can you explain what that means with the less is more?
Kannst du erzählen, was weniger ist mehr für die Peter Hess Klangmassage bedeutet?
Mhm. Unser Problem ist, dass wir materiell mehr Geld, mehr Freizeit und alles mehr. Und das belastet uns und macht uns verrückt. Und wir brauchen nicht mehr Belastung, sondern wir brauchen weniger. Wir müssen frei werden von Belastung.
Our problem nowadays is that we often want more of everything, more money, more fame, more free time, more. And actually, what we sometimes need is less of something to free ourselves of something.
Ja. Und das merkt man auch manchmal, wie manche Leute mit Klang umgehen. Dann hat man das Gefühl, da wird was rausgeprügelt.
And sometimes we see sound practitioners working like that, and it feels like they're trying to hit something out of the body, or, you know, with force.
Ja, das ist einmal diese schnelle Frequenz, die aufregt.
So it's for one, it's the high rate of striking that kind of makes the body totally nervous.
Yeah.
Und je langsamer die Frequenz ist, desto mehr kann ich loslassen und die Entspannung wählen.
The slower the frequency is, the more I can let go and get into relaxation.
Und es sind die leisen Klänge, deswegen sind sie uns so wichtig, die etwas bewirken und wo unsere Achtsamkeit, unsere Aufmerksamkeit ist.
And it's the quiet sounds that really do the job. And that's very important in the Peter Hess sound massage, is that we strike and try to create a low, quiet tone.
Und es geht nicht darum, in unserer materiellen Welt immer mehr Müll anzusammeln, sondern Leere zu bekommen. Und diese Leere ist das Diamant, das Wertvolle, wo sich etwas entwickeln kann. Und das muss ganz sanft gehen und mit Achtsamkeit.
So so the thought behind it is not to gather more and more of things, but to create that void that can be the diamond that you wish to be able to bloom from there. And that has to be done harmonically and quietly and gently.
That makes so much sense. It makes so much sense. And I think keeping it simple, like you had pointed to, yeah, it's so important. It's amazing what opens up to you in life when you just simplify things. You know, like whether it's the things in your house, whether it's, just your schedule. There's so many things, even the food you eat, just like one of the things I do with people when I take on new clients is we go to the grocery store and I have them bring their list and we go through every ingredient on everything they pick up. And I'll ask them, do you know what that is? Do you know what that is? Do you know what that is? And I have them look it up. And half of these things, they have no idea what it is, even after they look it up, right? And I said, the best is the ones, simple ingredients. Keep it simple, right?
And that's the main thing, simple but high quality.
Yes.
You know what you're doing. I mean, that's just, and that is the thing, that it's the high quality of the product, but it's the high quality of the person in the way he or she knows what he or she is doing, and the attention that that person gives the client. So it's the combination of those three, and it's simple, but that has to be fulfilled. Otherwise it won't work that well.
Yeah, I love that. So let me ask, favorite sounds. It can be anything. It can be something nature. It can be music. It can be anything. When you hear these sounds, everything feels right in the world.
Was ist dein Lieblingsklang? Es kann Natur, es können Vögel, es kann irgendwas anderes sein. Wenn du diesen Klang hörst, hast du das Gefühl, es ist alles gut?
Also mittlerweile ist mein Lieblingssound, weil ich hier wohne, ist das Rauschen des Meeres. Und die Meereswellen geben immer wieder den natürlichen Rhythmus ab. Also sie führen immer wieder zum natürlichen Rhythmus in 3 bis 4 Sekunden. Das ist dieser Rhythmus, den ich liebe, von Naturgeräuschen, natürlich anderes Vogelstimmen und rauschende Blätter auch, aber den Klang genieße ich jetzt jeden Tag.
He loves nature sounds for sure, but since he lives right on the ocean, has become his favorite sound, the rhythmic sounds of the waves every 3 to 4 seconds, and that's very, very calming for him.
Okay, and that makes so much sense. Jana, I think you had pointed to the fact that we're so much water, right? So it's like going home when we hear water, right? It's part of us. We are water. What about how sound will be used in the future?
Was denkst du, wie Klang in der Zukunft angewendet werden wird?
Was nochmal?
Wie Klang was für eine Rolle Klang in der Zukunft spielt?
Klang kann eine Riesenrolle einnehmen, wenn wir sehen bei der Anwendung, was alles passiert. Und ich frage immer meinen Teilnehmern in Deutschland, wie viele potenzielle Kunden habt ihr denn? 100.000, 1 Million, 2 Millionen? Und dann kommen wir zuletzt auf die Zahl von 82,3 Millionen. Das ist gerade die Anzahl der Einwohner, die wir haben. Das ist unsere Zukunft. Klang ist überall anwendbar, von der Geburtsvorbereitung bis zur Sterbebegleitung, von Kinderwunschprogramm und so weiter.
He thinks sound will play more and more of a role in future, as you can utilize it from pre-receiving a child until passing into the other world, with so many areas in between, that it's so universal that it could have a place in every area of life. And he always asks his participants, how many clients do you think you can treat with sound? And then he says in the end, it can be up to 82.3 million, which is how many people live in Germany right now. So, which, yeah, of course, for every other country. So actually every person could use sound in whatever area that might be.
Die meisten kennen die Wirkung nicht, und es ist gut, wie unser Gespräch hier, so die Idee zu bekommen, wie wertvoll der Klang sein kann, und sich dann mit der Methode anfreunden und ab und zu eine Behandlung machen und dann erfahren, wie wichtig das ist.
He thinks it's wonderful to, because many people do not know about the effects of sound, and that it might be something for them. And it's wonderful that people like you offer information like this, so people who might be interested but don't know what it is can check and maybe one day try it out for themselves and find out how wonderful it is.
Well, thank you. I think we are all in this together, and it's a team effort, you know. So yeah. I mean, what you're doing and all of the training you're doing, and just taking the time out today, and I think we're all in it together for sure. So yeah, thank you. Is this a modality? Is it covered through insurance in any of the European countries? Do you know?
Wird Klangmassage von Versicherungen bezahlt in irgendeinem Land in Europa?
Das ist sehr unterschiedlich. Es ist in Anfängen wird es bezahlt, in manchen Regionen, das ist immer regional abhängig. Ne? Und zum Beispiel die Anwendung in Krankenhäusern und sowas ist natürlich bezahlt. Ne? Das ist bezahlt. Nur wenn jetzt Privatpersonen dahin gehen, ist es eine Frage, wie man mit den Versicherungen verhandelt.
So it is depending on the region. Sometimes you can use it as credit points towards your well-being, like a prevention, so you don't get sick. Or if like nurses or doctors use it in combination with another treatment, then it can be paid by the insurance. But it's not like we haven't heard of any country that covers it fully under an insurance.
Okay. Well, hopefully that day will come, but at least they're covering it somewhat. So that's a start, yeah. So yeah. Is there anything else you guys would like to add? Is there anything we haven't covered that you would like to share?
Well, just because you talked about insurance, I think it might be interesting that the classes in the United States, if you take those classes, you can get the credits that you need as a nurse, or so to get your ongoing education, which I think is awesome. I mean, we have many countries where that isn't possible. And our academy leader, Gina Armstrong, she is accredited for that. So if you need to do your ongoing education and you would be interested in doing it in sound, that's possible.
Okay, and I wanted to thank Gina too for introducing us, and for Wyatt Melius for introducing me to Gina and bringing us all together here today. So, but I will include the Academy, the U.S. Academy, in the description here. And is there the website for it? Is there any other site you would like to mention where people can find you?
Right. So the one website is the Academy site in the United States, and you'll add that. And Wyatt is one of our chiefs, which is very wonderful, and as is Elaine. And you can find them both on the site that you're posting. And the mother website in Germany is Peter-Hess-Institute without the E in the end, .de.
Okay. All right, wonderful. Well, you guys, thank you so much for sharing your time today and your energy and all of your work. Really appreciate it. It was such a fascinating journey. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you guys either in the States or maybe in Germany someday, and we can meet in person.
That would be wonderful. Thank you so much for wanting to talk to us and sharing this space with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for
and how do you say, I understand it's close to evening where you're at, so how do you say good evening in German?
Guten Abend.
Guten Abend. Is that it? Guten Abend.
Guten Abend.
Guten Abend. Auf Wiedersehen.
Danke.
Schön.
Danke.
Danke, bitte.